Here's a question for you. Is HostGator hosting still a good choice in 2025? I'll be honest, most of you probably can't answer that right away. Some reviews online paint a pretty negative picture, while at the same time, plenty of longtime HostGator users swear by it, saying it's a great, if not amazing, provider. The truth, like most things, is probably somewhere in the middle. So in this updated HostGator review, I'll break down what's changed over the years, what still works well, and where the service still falls short. Let's dive in. First, you might remember HostGator as that old school bulky feeling provider with cPanel. Well, not anymore. HostGator has made some notable improvements to its control panel to enhance the overall user experience. Look, I've got nothing against the good old cPanel, but let's be real. For most users, its cluttered design and clunky layout make it feel more overwhelming than helpful. In response, HostGator introduced a more streamlined and user-friendly dashboard, which, to be honest, is pretty much a copy of Bluehost's controls. And that brings me to something you should know. Bluehost and HostGator are owned by the same parent company. Whether having one parent company own multiple similar providers is a good or bad thing, I'll let you decide. But in this case, I'm actually all for it, because it fixed my main frustration. Constantly having to jump back into the HostGator cPanel, opening new tabs all the time just to do basic tasks. This new dashboard consolidates essential features into a single intuitive interface. I can now effortlessly manage SSL certificates, install apps like WordPress, and access databases all from one place. But hold your pitchforks. If you need more advanced configurations, the traditional cPanel is still just a click away. And honestly, I have to give props for this approach. It caters to both beginners and old school pros. That said, there are still a few things that bug me. First, what is this? Why are you hitting me with a full page upsell almost every time I log in? And the continue button? So tiny. Kind of a shady move, HostGator. I get it. Domain privacy is a good thing, and if you got the budget for it, I do recommend it because it hides your personal info from registrars and helps cut down on spam and other junk. But still, the way it's presented feels pushy. Also, even though the controls are nearly identical to Bluehost, the overall dashboard performance just feels slower. My workflow ends up taking longer here, and I can't help but notice the lag, especially when switching between sections. Overall, I really like the improved controls that HostGator now offers, but there are still a few areas where it could definitely be better optimized. That said, even if you're a beginner, you should be just fine navigating and managing your site here. Next up in my updated HostGator review, performance. HostGator of course claimed that its higher tier plans deliver enhanced performance, so I decided to put that to the test myself. I set up a fresh HostGator WordPress site on the Hatchling plan, and the load time was around 1.7 seconds. That's actually excellent. A faster website is always better, but as long as your site loads within 2.5 seconds, you're in Google's good graces. Upgrading to the baby plan brought the load time down to about 1 second flat. Now, while these speeds aren't exactly record-breaking, for the price point and compared to the market average, HostGator performed better than I expected. Speed isn't the be-all and end-all of your website's performance. Uptime and stress testing are just as important. Uptime simply refers to how often your website is reachable. Ideally, we want that number as close to 100% as possible. But realistically, minor downtimes can happen due to maintenance, updates, or even forces of nature. So a few minutes of downtime here and there is acceptable. In HostGator's case, they promise 99% uptime, which technically translates to about 8 hours of downtime per month. Sounds scary, right? But don't worry. In my testing, HostGator never came close to that. As you can see here, in the past 2 weeks, there was zero downtime. And typically, uptime hovers between 99.9% and 99.8%, which is perfectly reliable for most websites. Stress testing is all about seeing how many users your site can handle without throwing errors or crashing. To test this, I created 50 virtual users and had them browse my site for about 10 minutes. Now, 50 users simultaneously is a solid load for any website. The results? Honestly, great. No HTTPS errors, no major spikes in response time, no real issues at all. That said, as your site grows, you'll likely need to upgrade your plan or even move to a VPS, virtual private server, for more consistent high-performance results. In summary, for shared hosting, HostGator not only delivers, it surpasses my expectations. It might not be the absolute best out there, but with the recent updates, it's shaping up to be a fast and powerful hosting option that's definitely worth considering. Okay, let's talk about what's probably the biggest issue for most of you: pricing, resources, and those inevitable renewal increases. HostGator's shared hosting plans still offer unmetered bandwidth, a free SSL certificate, and a complimentary domain name for the first year. But what's changed recently is how they handle storage and website limits. Last year, the entry-level plan gave you just one website and a 10 gigabyte storage limit. But now, HostGator is being a bit more generous, upping that to 10 websites. The middle tier plan now gives you 20 gigabytes of space and supports 20 websites, while the most expensive plan, which used to be unlimited, is now capped at 50 sites and 50 gigabyte storage. From a resource standpoint, these are decent plans. Look, 100 site limits sound impressive, but let's be honest, even I don't have more than 20 websites. So maybe we don't need to be lured in by big numbers, but rather by realistic and usable limits. However, the email situation can really mess you up, like it did for me. When you buy a plan, you automatically get a pro email trial, which later renews at around $3 a month. If you don't need it, make sure you go in and cancel it manually. Now yes, HostGator does offer free server-based email, but take a look. Do you see an option to create a free email account directly? Nope, just prompts to buy a service. That's because for some reason, to manage your free email, you still have to go through cPanel, which definitely isn't the most beginner-friendly approach. So yeah, from a pricing and user interface standpoint, I really hope HostGator makes improvements soon. So, if we look at plans and pricing compared to industry averages, these are good offers. Not the best, but definitely solid. However, it's important to note that HostGator's pricing structure includes significant increases when it's time to renew. For example, the baby plan's initial promo rate looks great, but once that first term ends, the monthly cost jumps to, it's basically a 5 times increase. And while the plans are still decent after the renewal bump, they're not as competitive as providers like Ionos or Hostinger. To soften the blow of those higher renewal rates, I recommend choosing the longest billing cycle available and using my discount link below. It'll help a bit. Lastly, is HostGator secure? Do you need to handle everything yourself? Not really. HostGator includes essential security features like free SSL certificates and basic server level protections out of the box. However, when it comes to more comprehensive measures like automatic backups or advanced malware protection, you'll need to be a bit more proactive. Automatic backups aren't included by default. Instead, they're offered as an add-on service, but other providers at least throw in weekly backups to support beginners. So yeah, I'd love to see this improved. Daily backups as a premium? Fine. But come on, HostGator, give people at least weekly backups for free. I believe in you. For malware scanning and removal, HostGator integrates SiteLock into its offerings. While SiteLock does provide robust security features, it's important to note that these come at yet another additional cost. For example, the SiteLock Essentials plan is priced at $7.99 per month during the initial term and renews at an even higher rate. Is it worth it? That's a tough call. If your site handles sensitive data or online sales, then yeah, it might be worth the investment. But for that price, you're kind of just getting the bare essentials. Honestly, I'd recommend looking into WordPress-specific security tools like WordFence. They might offer more features. And overall, you should always keep your website secure, no matter where you host it. Proactive measures usually go the furthest. I'll give HostGator a plus for having decent multi-factor authentication. So at the very least, you can protect your account from unwanted break-ins. If you're interested, I've got a full video on how to protect your WordPress hosting website right here. Or just hit that subscribe button on the Cybernews YouTube channel to find it easily. In summary, while HostGator provides solid foundational security features, if you want to get the most protection, you'll need to invest a bit of your time or money. All right, so is HostGator worth it in 2025? Honestly, it depends on what you're looking for. HostGator has made some notable improvements, especially with the updated control panel and better overall performance. It might not be the best web hosting provider out there, nor the fastest or most feature-rich, but it does a decent job for the price, especially if you're a beginner or just need a reliable home for your web projects. The pricing structure is pretty standard for the industry, but I do feel like the renewal rates are a bit too steep. Also, while the security features are adequate for basic needs, you might want to invest a bit more, either in add-ons or external tools, for that extra peace of mind. Overall, HostGator isn't a one-size-fits-all solution, but with my discount link below, it can be your solution for a cheaper price. If you found this review helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can find more videos about the best WordPress hosting, cheap web hosting recommendations, or drop a comment if you have any questions or want to share your own HostGator experiences. If you've got your own pick for the best hosting for WordPress that I haven't covered, let me know. All right, enough talking. I'll see you in the next one.